Okay, so we're going to talk about Indian hemp, and you guys are going to help me out. We will play with this in a minute, so we're just going to ignore it for the time being. So the story of the two bears is that Saddle Rock. You guys have all seen Saddle Rock? Yeah. So see how if you want to, when we get to do this with the canoe and we're out at Confluence, if you sit out on the point, which last week was completely underwater, so we couldn't sit there, you can see Saddle Rock from out there. And I took that picture. It's cut down from a bigger picture. From out there. Out there, the angle is just right so that they look like, can you see the bears? So on the left, it looks like a big black head with teeth. You see it? And on the right, it looks like a grizzly bear more with the nose. Sometimes people see it as, here, let me see. Nose, eye, ear. So that's a big head. It's one way to look at it. And the jaw, and the ear, and the eye here. So you sit there and switch to black bears. It's sometimes in the light, it looks more like this is a big bear. And that looks bear. It depends upon the lighting and the way that these bears are. Okay? It's like looking at cloud formations, right? Okay, so get so you can see me because I'm going to talk this way toward that house. Okay, so there were two bears, and they were wives. And there's a black bear, so there's a black bear on the left, and there's a grizzly bear. And she's the older, grumpier bear. And they both had the same husband back then. And the chief he was a chief, their husband, and Black Bear was especially conscientious, and she really liked to do nice things for her husband. So she decided to get up the next day. She was going to go get canvas. And she goes down, she told Grizzly Bear about it. And Grizzly Bear was a little bit older. I like to think maybe she's a little arthritic and she can't get up and move as fast in the morning. So she wasn't as Johnny on the spot. She didn't get going in the morning the way Black Bear did. He was young and still very limber and able. So Black Bear goes down to the river by Rock Island where those rocks were that I showed you upstairs. And she had a magic belt. So she takes off her magic belt and she throws it across the river. And then she can walk across from rock to rock to rock without getting her feet wet. And Grizzly Bear's like, oh, I'm too tired. Oh, my back hurts today. I'm coming, and she's going down to the river, but she's kind of slow. And Black Bear is not patient, so she picks up her belt, ties it on, and runs up around Birch Mountain, or not Birch Mountain, Badger Mountain, sorry. And Black Bear gets down there, I'm mixing up my story. Grizzly Bear gets down there, and there's no way across the water. So she has a tantrum, and she throws the sticks all different directions. And so imagine if there's rapids, what I think probably happened is that the sticks and the twigs that came down the river would get stuck in the rapids. And so there would be stuff that looked like somebody had had a tantrum right there in the rocks, right? So she has to walk all the way down maybe to like Crescent Bar or someplace further down the river where there's a wider ford, splash across the river, walk all the way back up to where she meets with Black Bear. She gets there, she's just tired. She sits down on a rock and she just watches Black Bear, who's very happily digging up all the canvas, and she's carefully digging, and oh, that one's broken, put that back, and she's digging, oh, that's a beautiful juicy one, put that in my basket, taking more and more and more. And pretty soon Black Bear's getting done, and Grizzly Bear realizes, oh no, she hasn't got anything in her basket. So she just starts digging really quickly, and she takes the sticks and the broken ones and the rocks, she fills up her basket really fast, and then she follows Black Bear down the hill, and Black Bear throws her beautiful belt across. And I have Grizzly Bear like push her out of the way so she makes sure she gets across this time. And anyway, they both get across. Black Bear puts on her belt, and she's got plenty of time. She's not in a hurry. So she goes down to the river. She carefully washes all the really nice camas that she's dug up. And Grizzly Bear wants to beat Black Bear. We were talking about competition earlier, right? No, just yet. And so she races up the hill to bake her camas, and she's old, she can't see so well, so maybe she gets a few rocks and sticks in there, and hers are the broken ones, so they're not as juicy and beautiful as the ones the Black Bear has. And she serves it to the chief so she can be first. And what do you think the chief did? Do you think he wanted to eat those? He bit into one, and then he hit the rock. He's like, oh, you're going to break my teeth, and oh, get rid of this, I can't eat this. And then Black Bear comes up with the beautiful steaming camas, and she's done a really beautiful job, and the chief gobbles it up. And so they were always competitive, and they were always bickering. And when I first told this story, I would always have them bickering, and I think of bickering as like chihuahuas, little high voices. And one day I realized that they're big bears. They talk like this, so they were arguing all the time. And the same way that Coyote turned those owls into stones, he came along. He's taken the salmon up the river every year, and he thought, oh, not again. So he turned them all to stones. And so there's the two bears to this day. And all those little stones, those are the children and the bastards. So when you're in school and somebody does something wrong, is it sometimes that everybody gets in trouble? Yeah. Yeah. Because nobody wants to, you don't want to tattle, you want to tell anybody, right? But then you all get punished for something that one person did that they shouldn't have done. And that's kind of the way this story goes. I also think they had names for things in places like this because, like, when you see that one, you know you can go up a certain canyon. That's number 2 canyon, isn't it? Number 1 canyon, so I always mix those up. Number 1 and number 2 canyon. Anyway, one side is next to that, and the other isn't. And so that might be a landmark to tell you to, you know, when you see the 2 bears, you're going up the canyon to get something. Maybe there's something up there. So they had no maps, they had no written language, so they only had this kind of story to help them remember where things were and to teach morals and lessons. Does that make sense? Okay, so now we're going to mix up. So you guys just have to stay out of that section, okay? This is Indian Dogbane, and it's called Indian hemp. And I think we need like 3 of these because they're snipers, right? Yes. And if we get 4 pieces out of each one, if we get 4 pieces out of each one, how many? And there's 3 of them. How many will we have? You guys done your multiplication yet? 12. Very good. Okay. Yay. Could have added it on all your hands. I told you you had it. They know there. Okay. So this stuff is really cool. This is a plant that grows like this in the ground. And it can get really tall like this. It's very unusual because it has fibers the length of this thing. So it has a 3-foot fiber if you do it right. And we had to experiment. And one of the things we've decided maybe happened around here is that the children are playing out in the sticks and they go, oh, that's an interesting stick. And then somebody gets on the floor and they, oh, look at that. It popped into 4 pieces. Remember the raccoon story with the grandma? And maybe they went to, Grandma, look at this. So it breaks into 4 pieces every single time. Sometimes they don't break evenly. All right, so I'm going to have, let's see, there's 9 of these, 3 on each stick. I don't need you to tromp it to death. I just need you to pop it like that and break it. So everybody put a couple of steps in and work as a team. Okay, break it. I'm breaking one after the other. You get on this one. There's one easier. So you get share. So everybody gets a turn. You don't need to annihilate. You just need to break it. And put it up here on the table when you make it. Just go out. Don't worry about it. Bring it over. Bring it up on the table. Okay, so now we're going to do this for them. No, you can do it in your team. So we're going to work together. One, you can't be right there. One of the things you need to know, it does give you slivers, so be careful. You're going to split them apart and try to get 4 pieces, so each person gets 1. Okay, so just and try not to break the strings. You're going to get strings like this.
Don't pull too hard.
Make sure you get past here. Don't go further. Clear to the end. There we go. Yeah. Okay, so now, and there's 12 here, so we have 9 people, so we should have some spares. So everybody gets 1 piece like this. This one's breaking.
I like this.
This one is breaking. I like that one's little and that one's big. That's how it goes. There's one. You guys are fighting over it. You can't go fast. So when you get the other one, and one of you gets a string. Or this one. This is garbage. Let's put the garbage in the garbage can. Don't walk in front of the camera.
Let's try. Be pretty much.
Let's do another one really quick. Okay.
We need another one too.
She's doing another one.
Okay.
These are fine, guys.
Gently.
Sometimes
that's going to break it.
Okay, that's good enough. All right, so when we get this, it's green right now and it's flowering and it's full of sticky stuff like dandelions. And so that doesn't work right now. It has to dry in the fall, and